Hey there guys, my name's John Campea. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Now, I absolutely loved my experience of watching Godzilla vs. Kong in the movie theater. Having gone so long without being able to go to the movies, seeing a movie like Godzilla vs. Kong on the big screen was just the type of big action bombastic fun that we needed. That being said, even though I loved my experience watching it and I really enjoyed the film, there are a number of things about it that aren't so great. No movie's perfect, and this one certainly isn't. So I thought I would quickly put together my list of the 5 worst things about Godzilla vs. Kong. Problem number 1. Millie Bobby Brown's Madison Russell character. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not here suggesting that there's anything wrong with Millie Bobby Brown or her performance in Godzilla vs. Kong. On the contrary, I'm liking her more and more as an actress. Hell, I even liked her in Enola Holmes, despite the fact that I didn't even like that movie very much. No, the problem isn't Brown herself. It's her character, Madison Russell. Specifically, the absolute uselessness of her character and complete lack of purpose for even being in the movie. The Madison Russell character was first introduced, you'll remember, back in Godzilla King of the Monsters. And even though the human characters were the biggest weakness of that movie, easily, you could at least make the argument that in that movie, Madison Russell's actions actually had a direct and meaningful impact on the resulting events and even outcome of the movie. The whole thing with the device and the ballpark, among other things. Her actions in that movie mattered to the outcome of the story and to the overall direction of the narrative. You can't say that about her presence in Godzilla vs. Kong. Literally nothing Madison does in the movie has any real influence or impact in the outcome of the main story. Think about it. Her locating Brian Tyree Henry's character, the discovery of the secret bullet train to Hong Kong from Florida, stumbling across the skull of King Ghidorah, all of it, every single action she had was utterly meaningless to the overall story of the movie. Nothing this character did had any impact on the story of the movie or ultimately its outcome. Look, at the very most, if you wanted to be like really generous, you could say that Madison, Bernie, and Josh being at the Apex headquarters in Hong Kong at the end of the movie allowed Josh, played by Deadpool 2's Julian Dennison, to inexplicably and magically guess that he should pour Bernie's booze on Apex's supercomputer. By the way, it was just some random terminal he was at, which momentarily made Mechagodzilla pause for some inexplicable reason, allowing Kong to gain the upper hand and kill him. So the whole reason that Madison's character is being in Godzilla vs. Kong was so that another character could make a 1 in a billion guess at computer sabotage? She just didn't need to be in the movie. Problem number 2. Godzilla's magical Spidey sense. Okay, look, I get it. This one might be considered a little nitpicky by some, but it's actually so ridiculous that it has to be called out. Look, one of the things that this monsterverse has done pretty well is the way they explain the actions and abilities of the Titans in biological terms. They give their own movies reason why the Titans act the way they act and can do what they do. This includes Titans' ability to sense and be aware of other Titans, which is pretty key to the movies. Anyway, so this would explain why Godzilla could sense the emergence of King Ghidorah in King of the Monsters. And it even explains why Godzilla could sense and go after Kong in Kong vs. Godzilla when they were traveling across the ocean. But what it does not explain is how on earth Godzilla would have any awareness or any idea that the technology Apex was assembling and programming in their Florida factory were actually the components for a giant super robot monster designed to fight and kill titans such as Godzilla. There is just no biological way, even with the very stretched out movie logic of the monsterverse, that Godzilla could know that the optical processors they were manufacturing and the software they were programming to operate them were being put together to create Mechagodzilla, a threat to Godzilla. Godzilla's attack on the Apex factory elevates Godzilla to not just a titan, but a magical wizard titan. And seriously, all he needs now is a wand and we can start calling him Godzilla the White. Problem number 3, breaking into Apex. In the movies, we all accept that at certain points in the story, we as the audience may be asked to suspend our disbelief at certain points when the filmmakers need to play a little bit loose with logic in order for their story to move forward. But when logic is so completely abandoned to the point that it pulls you out of the story, there's a problem. At one point in Godzilla vs. Kong, Madison, Bernie, and Josh decide to break into the Apex campus where Godzilla had attacked at the beginning of the film. But here's the problem. They literally just walk into the place without any security, all while Apex is still running their operation there. They walk into the facility without any security, navigate their way through the rubble without running into any security, slide down some other rubble to a lower level without encountering any security. Then, in the midst of the rubble and destruction, they hit an incredible stroke of luck and stumble upon a fully functioning and operating elevator in the midst of all the destruction and rubble. And of course, this elevator has no security. And without any security clearance or swipe cards or passwords, they're able to take this fully functioning elevator directly to the super top secret lab of sub-level 33, even though they had no idea where they were going. And again, without any security, then coincidentally, they stumble into a storage container filled with top secret and highly illegal skull crusher specimens, again, with no security guarding them. And that container just happens to luckily whisk them away to Apex's Hong Kong facility, again, without any security. I get it, suspension of disbelief is one thing, but this whole improbable, ridiculous, and stupefyingly unbelievable series of events robs the characters of a chance to make a meaningful contribution to the story, and it robs us as the audience of brain cells. Problem number 4. The Kongs are structural engineers, everybody. Okay, so let's just forget for a moment that King Kong just instinctively knew exactly where in Hollow Earth to go once he got there. Like, the exact spot he had to go. When he arrives at the main structure and comes to a giant stone door, I was like, wait a minute, Kong's ancestors built a door? It was a bit confusing because up until this point, nothing in any of the MonsterVerse movies ever suggested that the Titans had super high functioning intelligence that they could like design things like to the point that they could engineer and construct a stone door. But okay, whatever, it's just a door, so I guess that's not impossible to imagine, right? But then Kong opens the door, and we in the audience get to behold a huge, intricate, and beautifully designed chamber filled with spires reaching from the floor to the ceilings with beautiful blue power coursing through them, and in every direction, stunningly gorgeous archways as if designed by European architects or something, and in the center, a giant throne fit for the true king. Yes, it's beautiful, but it also makes no sense. We're just supposed to overlook that Kong's great-great-great-grandparents, I mean, who knows how long they lived, were architects, craftsmen, designers, sculptors, and engineers capable of erecting such an impressive monument to their own glory? Absolutely nothing in the movies has ever suggested such a thing, and nothing that we see in Hollow Earth with all of the various creatures suggests anything like it exists down there at all, other than this. I mean, it's actually just like, what the f***? Problem number 5. Kong climbs 4,000 miles in 30 seconds. At the end of the beautifully engineered chamber sequence, Godzilla has fired his nuclear breath all the way down to the center of the Earth where Kong is. Side note, do you realize how impossibly accurate Godzilla's aim had to have been to hit a target almost 4,000 miles away with pinpoint accuracy? We're talking like way beyond Luke using the Force to hit an exhaust port with some torpedoes. Fortuitously, Godzilla's attack leaves a direct passage for Kong to go through to get to Hong Kong and confront Godzilla again. This time with Mjolnir. I mean, Stormbreaker. Well, I mean, whichever one of Thor's magical weapons you want to call this giant axe that Kong has now. Here's the problem though. The distance from Hong Kong to the center of the Earth is almost 4,000 miles. If we want to be generous, let's say that Hollow Earth isn't exactly at the center of the world, so we'll call it 3,000 miles, just to be generous, I suppose. Kong may have a direct passage to Godzilla in Hong Kong, but it's still 3,000 miles away. And remember, this brand new passage that was just cut through with Godzilla's nuclear fire, it doesn't have one of those magical warp gates that got them down to Hollow Earth in the first place. So, King Kong has to travel 3,000 miles. Even if Kong just jumped into the passage and did a total free fall all the way to Hong Kong, terminal velocity is 150 miles per hour, which means even in pure free fall, it would take King Kong 20 hours to get to Hong Kong. 20 hours. The fact that he apparently arrives there in a matter of about 30 seconds is completely inexplicable, to the point that the movie doesn't even bother trying to explain it. Again, listen, I understand movies need suspension of disbelief once in a while, but this was a tall order. So there you have it, guys. My 5 worst things, the biggest weaknesses to me of Godzilla vs. Kong. Maybe you liked the movie too, just like I did, but maybe you found some other weaknesses too. Why don't you jump into the comments of this video and let me know what you think those are. Listen, guys, if you enjoyed this video, why don't you take a second, click a thumbs up, give a subscribe, and listen, if you're new around here, make sure you come and check out our 2-hour live daily show talking all about movies and TV and streaming, the John Campea Show, every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Anyway, guys, that will do it for me. Thanks for checking out this video. My name's John Campea, and until next time, bye-bye.